Greetings, Nick Bowcott with Sweetwater here, and welcome to 5 famous metal/hard rock riffs that use major and minor dyad shapes. Now, the intro I just stumbled through used a bunch of dyads, including quite a few major and minor ones. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is a dyad? Well, it's spelled D-Y-A-D according to the experts, but Brits like me prefer to spell it D-I-A-D. However you spell it, what it means simply is this: 2 different notes played at the same time. Makes sense? So as long as it's not an octave or a unison note, 2 notes played together on the guitar are a dyad. Now, some music theory boffins will tell you that a dyad is an interval as opposed to a chord, because their argument is a chord has to have 3 different notes to actually be a chord. Now let's take a look at the power chord, for example, and see if it's a chord or not. We call it a power chord, but it's just the root and the 5th. And actually, it's not really a chord, because is it major? Is it minor? No, it's kind of ambiguous, because both major and minor chords have a root and a 5th, and they're the same in both. So if I play an A minor chord, the root and the 5th are the same. It's the 3rd that's different. And likewise, if I play an A major chord, the root and the 5th remain the same as the minor one, but the 3rd changes. Let's check it out. I'm going to do the A major first. Let's do the A5 power chord at the 5th fret. Root and 5th. Now I'm going to add the major 3rd, which is a note 2 steps above, 2 tones above, or 4 frets. So A, the major 3rd is C sharp. So A, the root, and then C sharp, which is 4 frets higher. So now if I play the A at the 5th fret on the low E string, and the C sharp at the 4th fret on the A, and play them together, I've got a major dyad. Check it out. Make sense? And the cool thing about that is, because of the way the guitar is tuned, as long as the root is on one of the low strings, E, A, or D, namely the wound ones on an electric guitar, the way to find the major 3rd is real easy. 1 string higher than the root on 1 fret lower. So in the case of A, I go to the 5th fret on the low E string, then go to the A string and go 1 fret low, which is 4, and there, presto, there we go. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing, but having the root on the A string. So I'm going to stay at the 5th fret, which is a D. My major 3rd is 1 string higher, 1 fret lower at the 4th fret, which is F sharp. Now let's do the exact same thing on the D string. So I'm going to stay at the 5th fret, which is a G. Then to find the major 3rd of that, I go to the next higher string, which is G, and go to the 4th fret. That gives me a B, and hey presto, none more simple. And the same exact thing applies to the minor with a slight difference. Let's check it out. For a chord to be minor, you've got to add the minor 3rd, which in the case of A is C, which is 3 frets higher up or 1.5 tones higher. So here's the root. My minor 3rd is C at the 3rd fret. So if I apply the same exact principle, the only difference now is the 3rd is 1 string higher than the root note string, but 2 frets lower. So from 5 on the low E to 3 on the A string. Same exact thing on the next 2 strings. That's D minor. And then the same exact thing on the D and G strings, which will be a G minor. So that's it. Now, the reason heavy metal and hard rock players like dyads, because if you play more than 3 notes at the same time using a lot of distortion, it kind of gets messy, it's cluttered, it's unfocused, whereas 2 notes, like on the power chord, remain focused and they've got punch, so that's why we use them. Anyway, enough of my chatter, let's look at some famous riffs that use both these shapes, the major and the minor. We're going to start off with a couple of riffs that just use the major shape. Okay, our first riff is from Slayer. It's from Bloodline, and what I'm going to do first is play it using just root 5th dyads, no major dyads whatsoever. This is what it sounds like. It's pretty menacing, but believe it or not, by adding the happy major sound, because major's happy, minor's sad, they make it even more menacing. Check this out. Nice, pretty menacing, using happy major shapes. Let's check in another one. This is my favorite riff from Alice in Chains, and that's a hard choice because Jerry writes so many great riffs. But this is from the intro of Wood. That's spelled W-O-U-L-D, not W-O-O-D. How it starts is this. It basically goes from F sharp to G on the D and G strings. Then it goes to the same exact thing on the E and A strings, an octave lower. Here's what it sounds like using just power chords. Nah, that's not right. Let's do what Jerry does and replace the G5s with G major dyads. So here's what it sounds like when played correctly. Well, to the best of my ability, correctly anyway. A simple change, but what a massive difference. Now let's go to the minor, shall we? And we're going to start off with the late, great Dimebag. And to do this, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to pick a riff, which in this case is the chorus from the epic This Love, and play it using regular power chords, and then I'm going to replace the power chords that shouldn't be power chords with minor dyads. Here's what the riff sounds like using just root 5th power chords. No. This is how Dime did it. He replaced the C5, B5, and G5 that I'm playing with minor dyads. So instead of being this, it becomes this. That is evil sounding, This Love indeed. So let's check it out with those correct chords in place. Not as precise or accurate as Dime by any means, but you get the picture. And he does the same exact thing in one of the fast riffs at the end of the amazing Mouth for War. This is what the riff sounds like when you play it with regular power chords. Now let's do it how Dime played it on the album and live, which is replacing the B5 and the A5 with minor dyad shapes, and it becomes this. Way better. Like I said, nowhere near how Dime would do it, but close enough for an idiot like me. To finish, I'm going to play a couple of classic riffs that use both the major and the minor dyads together. Not simultaneously, but one after each other. We're going to start with a classic AC/DC riff, just played with power chords first so you can hear what it would sound like without the magic of the major and minor dyads. Here we go. Nah, that's not even close, is it? You probably get the gist from the rhythm, but the way they played it was no E5 but an E minor dyad instead, and no D5 but a major dyad instead. And all of a sudden you get this. In my opinion, that is simplicity at its most brilliant. Now, of course, that was way, way, way too much gain or distortion for AC/DC, especially Malcolm's magical, very clean tone, but I just want you to get the picture. That's how major and minor dyads can work to really spice up a riff. Now, what we're going to finish with is something from Mr. David Mustaine. It's an E minor riff that uses a total of 4 different dyads. Minor, major, the root fifth, and also the tritone, which is the evil one. This is what the tritone dyad sounds like. It's a Black Sabbath interval. That said, here is the riff. It's from Addicted to Chaos from Euthanasia, and this is how the song opens. And what I'm going to do, like I've done all along, is initially I'm going to replace the major and minor dyad chords with regular root fifths. I'm going to leave the tritone dyad as is, because you can't replace that with the root fifth. But this is what this deceptively difficult riff sounds like with the major and minor dyads replaced by root fifth chords. Here we go. Now let's play it how David wrote the thing, by not playing E5 but E minor, and not playing the first D5 but a D major dyad instead. Here goes. And there you have it, my friend, major and minor dyads. Simple ideas that can really spice up a riff. Now I know Yngwie Malmsteen says less is not more is more, but in the case of these dyads, use them sparingly because more can become passé and even boring or redundant. So use them with taste, and as for the rules, there are none. Try them, and if you like how it sounds, it's correct regardless of what the experts say. So use your ears, trust them, be selfish, write stuff you like. See ya!